Good morning, everyone. So we are recording now. Good morning, Krishnan. Um,
Morning.
okay. So good morning, Namita.
Good
Okay,
morning,
good.
sir.
So it seems like people are still showing up. Let's wait for another 1 minute and see how many more show up. In the meanwhile, let's see if there are any questions or concerns regarding anything we have discussed so far. Right. So yesterday we took a bit of a detour and we discussed matching covered graphs. So they are connected and every edge belongs to some perfect matching. Right. And we discussed the tight cut decomposition of matching covered graphs because it is going to be relevant to our discussion today. Right. So when you do the tight cut decomposition, you get a bunch of bricks and braces. There is a point I forgot to mention that is going to be crucial. So yeah, so the point I want to mention here is that if your graph is so
So you aren't
Are you
sharing
sharing your screen?
screen.
oh good good good. I am not sharing the screen. Sorry. Okay. Right. Okay. Now do you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I forgot to mention one observation yesterday. Well, I would rather say it's a proposition, and I will let you prove it on your own. So basically, if you have a matching covered graph G and you have a tight cut C, then and if this graph is bipartite, then both the contractions will be bipartite. So in fact, it's both. It's if and only if G is bipartite, if and only if each C contraction of G is also bipartite. Okay, this might be on your assignment 5. I will break it into parts and put it, or it might be, or you can take it as a try it yourself problem. Okay. So what's the corollary of this? So you have a bipartite matching covered graph. If you get a tight cut, a non-trivial tight cut, then you will get two smaller bipartite matching covered graphs, right? And you keep doing this, and in the end, all the graphs you will get will be braces. You can't get bricks because bricks are non-bipartite. So this means this is if and only if the tight cut decomposition of the graph G yields only braces and no bricks. Okay. So in our discussion, because we are going to focus on bipartite graphs, we will not care about bricks. Right? We'll only get braces. All right. Um, there is a characterization of braces that I would like to tell you. So you can prove the following: bipartite graph. So let's say this is a bipartite graph, um, and you can assume that it is connected. Actually, you don't need that assumption. Okay. So bipartite graph is matching covered if and only if you delete any black vertex and any white vertex, the remaining graph has a perfect matching for all x in x and y in y. And similarly, there is a characterization for braces. This is relevant to Shrikant's question yesterday. You can prove that G is a brace if and only if instead of deleting one vertex, now you have additional freedom because remember, braces are special bipartite matching code graphs. So now you can delete two black vertices and two white vertices. So you delete any two black vertices and any two white vertices, and you still have a perfect matching. This is for all distinct x1, x2 in x, and y1, y2 in y. Okay. So in case you are wondering about characterizations, those are characterizations which might be on your, one of them or both of them might be on your assignment. Okay. I'm still working on the assignment, so I'm not sure. I think here you need a condition that the number of vertices is at least 4, because you are deleting 4 vertices, so it's good to have that condition. Okay. Good. All right. So that's all I want to tell you about bricks, braces, and the tight cut decomposition. And now let's move on to our main problem. We want to characterize the bipartite cubic graphs that do not have a disconnected two factor. Okay. So let's just introduce a terminology. So first of all, bipartite cubic graphs, they are actually matching covered so long as they are connected. Otherwise, each component is a matching covered graph. So each component is matching covered. This actually follows from the bipartite version of Wissing's theorem. I think it's 17.2 in your textbook, which says that in a bipartite graph, you just need delta colors. So in a bipartite cubic graph, you will basically get a 3-edge coloring, and well, every color corresponds to a perfect matching. So every single edge is covered by, is contained in some perfect matching, right? Because the 3 colors, they comprise all the edges of the graph. Okay, so this follows from 17.2. Okay, so each component is matching covered. That means that each component has a perfect matching, which means that each component has a two factor, right? Because the complement of a perfect matching in a 3 regular graph is just a two factor, right? So this also implies that each component has a two factor. Okay, so if your graph is disconnected, then both, all the components will have two factors, and that will be a disconnected two factor of the whole graph, right? So in other words, we only care about connected graphs. So the point is, it suffices to consider connected bipartite cubic graphs. Okay? And connected bipartite cubic graphs, this is the same as saying it's a bipartite cubic matching covered graph, right? Because each component is matching covered. So if I put the condition that the graph is connected, then it's just one component. And so we have a matching covered graph. Okay. So we will focus on this class of graphs. Okay. So which are the bipartite cubic matching covered graphs that do not have a disconnected two factor? All right. So let's introduce one terminology to make things a bit easier so that I don't always have to keep saying the graph does not have a disconnected two factor. Right? So let's say a graph G is two factor Hamiltonian if it if G does not have a disconnected two factor. In other words, If it does not have a disconnected two factor, that is the same as saying that every two factor is connected, which is the same as saying that it is basically a Hamiltonian cycle. Right? So if every two factor is a Hamiltonian cycle, then we are saying that the graph is two factor Hamiltonian. Okay? And what we want to do, let's say script H is the class of bipartite matching covered two factor Hamiltonian graphs. Right, so they are bipartite and cubic. Sorry, I forgot cubic. Maybe let me put matching covered at the end. Okay, so we are looking at bipartite cubic graphs. They are matching covered because of the discussion we just had. And we are looking at those which are two factor Hamiltonian. So in other words, every single two factor is a Hamiltonian cycle. Okay, and our problem is to characterize this class of graphs. Okay, this is our main goal, which is an open problem, but there is some progress using tight cuts, and then there is a beautiful conjecture. Okay, are there any questions or concerns at this point? Is it clear what the definition of script H is? Right? Every two factor has to be a Hamiltonian cycle. Can anybody give me an example of a graph in this class? Can you give me an example of a bipartite cubic graph so that it does not have any non-Hamiltonian two factors? I'll give you a hint.
K4.
Yeah. K4, it's not bipartite.
Oh, okay, bipartite.
Right.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
But that's okay. It is a two-factor Hamiltonian cubic matching covered graph, but it is not bipartite.
The theta graph?
Theta is correct. Theta graph is two-factor Hamiltonian, right? Yeah. So theta belongs to script H. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, for the sake of this discussion, I'm going to remove theta from the class. Okay. Because all the other graphs are going to have at least 6 vertices. So let me remove theta, but you are right. Theta was actually in my original definition. Can you give me a bigger example now? Also, theta is the only non-simple graph. Other graphs in this class will be simple. So that's another reason to remove it. I'll give you a hint. The graph is a good friend of yours by this point in the course. Think of a small bipartite cubic graph.
K33.
K33, exactly. K33 is in this class. Why? Does anybody have a short proof of this?
It is bipartite.
It is bipartite, cubic, matching covered. All that is fine. Why is it two-factor Hamiltonian?
Two-factor Hamiltonian, the only way it can be having two factors is it having two triangles.
Right. Because there are only 6 vertices.
Yeah.
Intercycling by a
they
problem.
can't.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, what was Kapil, your point?
It is intercyclic by a problem in assignment.
Sure. Yeah. All by observation. Basically, you cannot even find 2 vertex disjoint cycles in K33. Right? The only way to do it would be to get 2-3 cycles, but it's bipartite. So you have at least 4 vertices in any cycle, but then you don't have enough vertices in the graph. So this is clear, right? Good. K33 is in this family. Let's look at a graph which is not in this family, right? Just for the sake of example, right? So most graphs that you will think about will actually not be in this family. And there is a reason behind that. Or we think there is a reason behind that, right? So this graph is clearly not two-factor Hamiltonian because you have these 2-4 cycles that cover all the vertices and they are vertex disjoint. Okay, so this is not in script H. Okay, good. So now I want to start thinking about this problem. So what we will do is we will relate two factors with tight cuts. Because these are matching covered graphs, could it be that we don't need to look at all the matching covered graphs? We just need to look at the braces in order to solve the whole problem, which is basically a common recurring theme in matching theory, right? So that's a very valid question to ask in context of that theory. So, but remember, these are bipartite graphs. So they are not just any two factors. In a bipartite graph, because all cycles are even, in a two factor, every cycle will also be even, right? So we are going to look at even two factors. And what do I mean by even two factors? A two factor of a graph G is even if each component, well, all the components have to be cycles. So each component is an even cycle. Okay. And in a bipartite graph, every two factor is an even two factor. Right? We don't care about odd cycles in this discussion. So let's not even give them a name, right? We are just going to consider even two factors. So I have a following general question for you. Right. So let's say I take a graph G, matching covered graph G. I don't need the assumption bipartite, but if you want, you can think about it being bipartite. And let's say I consider Q to be a bunch of cycles that comprise a two factor. So, but an even two factor. So let's say this is an even two factor of my matching covered graph G. Okay. And now let's suppose I have a tight cut in my graph. And let's assume it is a non-trivial tight cut because we don't care about trivial tight cuts. They are not very meaningful. Okay. Let's say C is equal to partial of X. Okay. So what is the drawing we have? We have the standard drawing of cuts. Right. So let's say I put a blue line here. This is X, this is X bar, this is my cut C, my graph G, and I'm looking at an even two factor. So there is a bunch of vertex disjoint cycles that span the entire vertex set of the graph. So I have a question. Remember what is a tight cut? I want you to keep the definition in mind because that is crucial. For every perfect matching M of the graph G, the intersection of the cut with M is exactly equal to 1. Right? This is the definition of tight cut. So I have a question for all of you. How many cycles in Q can meet the cut C?
At most one.
At most one. Why?
Because
Zero, I guess.
Okay. So 0 at most 1. So let's look at most 1. So why can't it be 2 cycles?
Okay, let's say we have two cycles.
Hmm.
Now, from each cycle, we'd have an edge going from x to x bar,
Hmm.
and the cycles each have separate perfect matchings, which compress to the whole
Uh-huh.
perfect matching of the graph. So,
Right.
and this is because they're even cycles, I guess. We
Right.
can.
Exactly. So the point is, yeah. So let's suppose you have a situation like this, right? I'm just drawing an arbitrary picture here, but you can convert this into a rigorous proof. I'll let you do that later. Supposing you have a situation like this, okay? What you can do is now you can construct a perfect matching. Remember, these are all even cycles, right? Every even cycle has a perfect matching. And because all the vertices are covered, if you take a perfect matching of each even cycle, you will get a perfect matching of the whole graph. I'm looking at the cycles in my two factor, right? If I take a perfect matching for each cycle in this two factor, I will get a perfect matching of the whole graph, right? So I have two perfect matchings, red and green. For each cycle, I can take one perfect matching as red and another perfect matching as green, right? But now, if you look at so this perfect matching, for example, it meets the cut in exactly one edge. But now the other perfect matching will meet the cut in at least three edges, right? Because whenever a cycle meets a cut, it has to meet in at least two edges. So if you have two cycles, you will get at least four edges in the intersection. But all these edges are red or green, so you will get at least uh, three edges which are either red, at least two edges which are either red, or two edges which are either green. And both of these will contradict the definition of a tight cut, because you cannot have two red or two green edges in a tight cut, right? Because these red and green edges correspond to perfect matchings. Is the idea clear? Can everybody write that proof on their own? So I'll just write down the answer. So you said at most one. Why does it have to be? Can it be zero? Is this the final answer, or can we improve it? Can it be zero?
Wait, I'm not sure if it can be zero.
You are not sure if it can be zero. Let's think about
It
it.
can be zero, right? Just cycles
Hmm.
in X and X bar.
Okay. How many vertices are there in X and X bar? Is it an even number or odd number?
Oh, it's an odd number.
It's an odd number, right? And you only have even cycles. So you cannot cover any one side by just even cycles, right? You will have to take at least one edge, at least one cycle will have to meet the cut. Okay, in fact, we will make something stronger than that. So it has to be actually equal to 1, because you have an odd number of vertices um, in X and in X bar, right? Okay, so we know that there has to be exactly one cycle that meets the cut. The rest of the two factor has to be restricted to the two sides. In fact, you can say something slightly stronger. Exactly one cycle will meet the cut, and it will have to meet in two edges that are not of the same color. So basically, you color the edges of the cycle red and green. One of these edges will have to be red, and the other will have to be green. If both of them are red, then again you have a contradiction to the definition of a tight cut, right? So you have to have one red edge and one green edge. So in fact, so let's say this cycle is Q. Let Q be the unique cycle in your two factor that meets the cut C, right? So it has a non-empty intersection with the cut. So in fact, we can say something stronger. Q intersection C has one red edge and one green edge, where red and green are the two perfect matchings of Q.
So,
Yeah,
doesn't there being odd vertices on each side guarantee this actually?
it does. That can also be used to make the same claim.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
just thought that we had already discussed the perfect matching thing, so it's more visual to
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
this.
True. True.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Number of vertices already implies this fact. You are right. Right? So in other words, what happens is you have a bunch of even cycles on the left side, then you will have a path of odd length here. Similarly, you will have a bunch of even cycles on the other side, and you have a path of odd length here. So just by looking at the number of vertices, we could have arrived at the same conclusion. That's correct. Right? So this is an odd path. Odd. So, and these are all your even cycles. Sorry, I should not say odd path. When I say odd path, I mean the number of edges. Actually, according to my convention, this is an even path. My bad. It's an even path, which means it has an odd number of vertices and even number of edges. Okay, good. So you have basically even cycles and even paths on both sides. Good. All right. Good. So now I claim that if this is my disconnected two factor, so supposing my two factor is disconnected, then I claim that one of the two smaller graphs also had a disconnected two factor. Do you see that? My claim is that if Q, sorry, this is script Q, if script Q is a disconnected two factor of the graph G, then at least one of the two C contractions has a disconnected two factor. Right? So this is the claim I want to make. So let's go back to our setting. What do we have? We have a matching covered graph. We have this non-trivial tight cut. So we can get two smaller graphs, right? By shrinking each of these sides or shores into a single vertex, like we discussed yesterday. So we are looking at the two C contractions, and my claim is that if this Q that we are looking at is a disconnected two factor, in particular it is an even two factor. I should actually say it is a disconnected even two factor, then each one of them has at least a disconnected even two factor. Does everybody see this? Can anybody explain why this is true?
So can you show the statement again? Scroll
Yeah,
down.
yeah. Right? So what is the statement saying? If I have at least two cycles in my two factor in the whole graph G, the two factor I'm looking at, then in one of the two C contractions, I will also be able to get an disconnected two factor. Basically, I want to get the two factor for the smaller graph from the two factor that is given to me in the bigger graph.
So,
Yeah.
without loss of generality, assume the other cycle is in X.
You mean there is at least one more cycle in one of these two sides,
Sorry. Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
There,
Yeah, so let's
there
say
is
we just redraw. So we know that there is one cycle like this, and because yeah, go ahead.
there's at least one more cycle here.
Yeah,
Uh, so now do the contraction
exactly. Right.
and
And you're done, right? Basically.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So what you do, you know, there is at least one more cycle in this two factor, right? Because it is a disconnected two factor, so it can't be just one Hamiltonian cycle,
Yeah.
right? So let's say the other cycle is on the left side. So now you look at the contraction where you shrink the right side into a single
Yeah.
vertex. So there could be more cycles, but we are saying that there is at least one more, right?
Yeah.
So now in the left side, you will get a two factor. Basically, this cycle, what will it look like?
We
You
are
will have this
we are reducing like
exactly,
even number of edges, so it will remain
exactly.
even.
So you will get these two edges which correspond to these two edges, right? And the rest of the contraction will basically be unaffected. You will still have those cycles, right? Okay, and this will be an even cycle simply because of the parity arguments we discussed. And anyway, it's a bipartite graph, so that's how it is, right? So you just look at the contraction and you think about your original two factor, and from the original two factor, you get a disconnected two factor in the smaller graph. Right? So this is the graph G contract x bar to a single vertex little x bar. Okay. Is everybody happy with this? Are there any questions or concerns? What's going on here? Okay, so that's it. So that is proved, right? And this gives us a corollary. So, so if I have a bipartite graph, bipartite matching covered graph that has a two factor, because in a bipartite graph, two factors are even two factors, we already have that assumption, and C is a tight cut, right? Then the claim is that if each C contraction is two factor Hamiltonian, another way to think about this is the contrapositive, right? If both of the contractions don't have a disconnected even two factor or a disconnected two factor, then the original graph cannot have a disconnected two factor, right? So if each contraction is two factor Hamiltonian, then G is two factor Hamiltonian, right? In our case, because we are looking at bipartite cubic matching covered graphs, we get that if G, so let's say G is in script H, and let's say the C contractions are, if each C contraction is in script H, then G is in script H. Right? So this is a specialization because we are just looking at the cubic graphs. Right? So if, sorry, I did not mean to say this, sorry. G is a cubic bipartite matching covered graph. So if my smaller graphs are both two factor Hamiltonian, then my big graph has to be two factor Hamiltonian. Right? That is the contrapositive of what we just proved. If the big graph has a disconnected two factor, then one of the two smaller graphs will have a disconnected two factor. Right? So this is let's make use of this to construct a big example. Let me convince you that this 10 vertex graph is two factor Hamiltonian. Okay, so here is my graph. Okay, consider this graph. Now, this red colored cut is a tight cut. And both the contractions, what are they isomorphic to?
K33.
Each contraction is a K33. We know that K33 is a two-factor Hamiltonian graph, right? We discussed that. K33 is in script H. Therefore, this big graph is in script H. Okay, so that is an application of this corollary. Okay, so now we of course ask the converse. Is the converse true? If the graph is two-factor Hamiltonian, then is each contraction two-factor Hamiltonian? I don't want to make this lecture too long because it's the last one. So I might actually put some of these things on the assignment either as problems or bonus problems. I'll figure that out. So it turns out, in general, the converse is not true. However, in the case of cubic graphs, the converse is actually true. Okay? Maybe I won't put it on the assignment. I'll just make it an extra problem or something because I think I want to focus the assignment on the main part of matching. So, in general, converse not true for bipartite matching covered graphs. So we are not even talking about non-bipartite. Even for bipartite graphs, you can actually get a contradiction to the converse. I'll skip that for now. However, in the case of cubic graphs, the converse is true. Cubic bipartite matching covered graphs. Converse is true. So what is the converse again? If the big graph is two-factor Hamiltonian, then each of the smaller graphs has to be two-factor Hamiltonian. Okay, that is the converse. What does it rely on? So I won't prove this right now. Try it yourself. You need the following fact mainly. You need to show that in a cubic bipartite matching covered graph, every tight cut has to contain exactly 3 edges, like in this example. You cannot have a tight cut with 4 or 5 or 2 edges. It has to be exactly 3 edges. This is something special about cubic matching covered graphs in general, right? So requires the following, at least the proof that I know. It is not too difficult, but you need to first prove this. Each tight cut in a bipartite cubic matching covered graph, although this is also true for cubic matching covered graphs that are not bipartite, but we don't care. So each tight cut in such a graph is a 3 cut. Okay, so by 3 cut I mean it has exactly 3 edges. Right? So once it has exactly 3 edges, then actually things are not too difficult because your two-factor in the original graph, it will have to meet the cut in exactly 2 edges. Right? You can't, a cycle and a cut, they have to meet in an even number of edges. So you can't have an intersection of 4. So you will get that every cycle meets the cut in exactly 2 edges. And then you can basically reverse what we just did. Okay, so the main idea is just showing that a tight cut has to be a 3 cut. Okay, so I won't prove this. But what does it mean? That means that both the statements are true, right? So my original graph, if this is a bipartite matching covered cubic graph, then the graph is two-factor Hamiltonian if and only if the two contractions are two-factor Hamiltonian, because both directions are true. Right? So what is the consequence? Consequence of this. So let's say G is a bipartite cubic matching covered graph. then G belongs to this class if and only if each C contraction or both C contractions belong to this family with respect to any tight cut. Let me say non-trivial tight cut C, right? So if you take any non-trivial tight cut, both the graphs will belong to this family, and then you can keep doing this decomposition, and it means that all the braces of this graph G belong to this family. Oh, there is another point I want to mention. If a tight cut is a 3 cut, it gives you another thing for free. If a tight cut is a 3 cut, the two smaller graphs will also be cubic. Oh, this is another important point. Sorry, I forgot to mention. So basically, the two smaller graphs will look like this. All the vertices here are degree 3 because the original graph is degree 3 everywhere. And now, because this is a 3 cut, it tells you that these two vertices are also degree 3. Right? So you just get cubic graphs. So one consequence of this is that all braces of the graph G are cubic. Right? Because every time you get a two tight cut, it has to be 3 edges. So you'll get two smaller cubic graphs. By induction or by repetition, all the graphs you will get at the end of the tight cut decomposition, they will all be cubic. They will all be bipartite, and therefore they will all be cubic braces. Right? So all these braces are cubic braces. Okay, so what have we done? We have reduced our problem to the case of cubic braces, right? So now our main goal is to characterize, in fact, I will say it suffices to characterize the cubic, well, they are all cubic, the braces in this class. Right? Let me just go back to the definition of this class to make sure I'm not making any mistakes. Yeah, it is bipartite, cubic, two-factor Hamiltonian matching covered graphs. Good. Okay. So now instead of matching covered, we just need to look at the braces. Are there any questions at this point? Let's take a deep breath and make sure we understand everything. Is everybody happy with, so we didn't prove one direction, we just proved the easier direction. And the difficult direction requires this try it yourself problem. Right? And it has another important consequence, which is that all the braces will be cubic, right? Because your original graph is cubic. Right? So this is the main point that I want you to grasp. Is this consequence clear to everyone? Okay, so now the main point is to characterize the cubic braces in this family. Right, so we have bipartite matching covered graphs with the additional property that you delete any two black vertices and any two white vertices, and the remaining graph is a perfect matching. Right? And I will also add simple. Okay, I don't need to add it because I already excluded theta. So our graphs will have at least 6 vertices. That is easy to show. Each graph has at least 6 vertices, and they are simple. That is also easy to show. Okay. So we already know K33, but we don't want to put this graph, right? This graph is not a brace. It has a non-trivial tight cut. Okay, you can find 2 black vertices and 2 white vertices so that when you delete them, there will be no perfect matching in the graph. So what apart from K33? Is there any other graph apart from K33? Turns out there is exactly one graph that we know till today. Okay, so there is a conjecture. It is due to two independent Funk et al. I don't want to write down the names of all authors, and Diwan independently in the 2000s, early 2000s. So the conjecture is that there are just two graphs that have this property. There are just two braces that are in this family. One is K33. There are precisely two braces in this family. One is K33 and the other one is a beautiful 14 vertex graph. Let me see if I can draw it correctly. So, black, white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, not too bad. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. Let's number them 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so you already see a two factor that is connected. Now what you do is we want a bipartite graph. This graph has girth 6, so we have no 4 cycles. So what we will do is we will join 0 to 5. So we will get a 6 cycle, but we will not get a 4 cycle. Okay? And now we keep doing this. 0 goes to 5, 1 goes to 6, 2 goes to 7, 3 goes to 8, 4 goes to 9, 5 goes to... No, wait a second. I'm making some mistake here. No, this is fine. So far, everything is cubic.
So there will be 4 cycle in this graph, right?
4 cycle. There is a 4 cycle. Sorry, we don't want a 4 cycle. So I'm making a mistake. Okay, 0 goes to 5. Good. Let me think. Oh yeah, I'm making a mistake. Sorry. 2 goes to 7. 4 goes to 9. Yeah, now this is better. 6 goes to 11 and 8 goes to 13 and 10 goes to 1 and 12 goes to 3. Aha, good. And this is a beautiful graph called the He-Wood graph. Right? So I was feeling like I had given you important theorems which showed the Peterson graph. So I thought I will conclude with the He-Wood graph. Okay? So you have just two graphs. So it's a nice exercise. Do it yourself. Show that the He-Wood graph is two-factor Hamiltonian, right? So we have these two graphs, K33 and He-Wood, and that is it. And that is an open problem, and I will conclude the lecture here. I was hoping to not take all the 50 minutes, but anyways, I'm sorry.
Okay, so is today's class over?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here for another 5-10 minutes, but yeah, the lecture is over, and it's been a pleasure interacting with all of you, and I hope to continue interactions in the future. Yeah.
Okay, so today's class is the last class, right?
Yes, today's class is the last class.
So there is no other class.
No.
Okay, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And when you give the assignment, assignment 5?
I'll try today or this weekend. Yeah, I'm running a bit behind on it, but I'll definitely post it by Sunday.
Sunday, okay.
For sure. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Sunday.
Thank you, sir. It was a wonderful experience.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you,
Sagar.
sir. It was
Thank you.
very good, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was great.
Thanks. It was great for me too, having
Yeah, thanks,
so
sir.
many
Because
excellent
initially,
questions.
before starting, I thought 4 classes per week might be a bit too much, but I didn't think of it as a burden at all. It was actually even good. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it is a very extensive course.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
It was
glad
very
you all
nice.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah. It is very nice.
And also, I enjoyed very much this
Thank
course.
you.
I enjoyed
Thanks.
very much this course.
Yeah, so feel free to leave. And if you want to discuss anything else, I'm still here.
Sir, I had a question.
Yeah,
So, is Ajit Devan is still a professor in IIT Bombay now?
yeah, he's there. I mean, yeah, I last communicated with him 2 years ago. He's still there.
He's still there. Okay, fine.
Yeah, yeah. So next semester, I'm teaching a course on linear programming and combinatorial optimization. It's my first time offering it, so that's why I have not announced it widely so far because I'm still a bit unsure of how well that will go. But I'll try my best. So if you're interested, do let me know. Either if you want to credit or audit the course, that's a possibility.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Bye then.
Okay, see you. Bye.
See you. Bye, bye, sir. Bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Bye, sir.
Thanks.
Bye, sir.